بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. And tonight we continue in our Umrah classes, and we have spoken in our previous lesson, the first lesson, about the virtues of performing the Umrah and that it is an ibadah. And then we spoke about the arkan of the Umrah and its wajibat. And from the arkan that we mentioned, and a rukn or an arkan or a pillar is that which, if the mu'tamir or the person performing the Umrah does not perform it with one of them, or even one of them, or he leaves off one of them, then his Umrah is not correct. The first of them was al-ihram, the first pillar, al-ihram. And we said that the meaning of this is the intention to enter into the nusuk, or into the rituals of performing the Umrah. And this differs from wearing the actual clothing that is for ihram. So that entering into the ihram only starts from when you say the actual intention to perform the Umrah, and it is not from when you wear the ihram. So we see that this meaning of al-ihram, that when a person says the intention, that certain things become haram for him to do. The second pillar we mentioned was the tawaf, and that is to circumambulate the Kaaba 7 times, because of the saying of Allah Ta'ala, وَلْيَطَّوَّفُوا بِالْبَيْتِ الْعَتِيقِ, and let them perform the tawaf around al-Bayt al-Atiq, or that which is known as the Kaaba. The third pillar we mentioned was the sa'i, and that is to go between Safa and Marwa 7 times. And that this is mentioned in the Quran also in the ayah, إِنَّ الصَّفَا وَالْمَرْوَةَ مِنْ شَعَائِرِ اللَّهِ فَمَنْ حَجَّ الْبَيْتَ أَوْ اعْتَمَرَ فَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْهِ أَن يَطَّوَّفَ بِهِمَا. That verily Safa and Marwa are from the signposts of Allah, that whoever performs the Hajj to the house of Allah or in Umrah, then there is no blame upon him that he performs the tawaf, or that he goes between Safa and Marwa. From the wajibat that we mentioned of the Umrah, and there are only 2, and that is the ihram from the miqat, or before he enters or passes the miqat. And that the miqat are those boundaries which our Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam has said that a person must not pass when he is performing the Umrah, that he does not pass it without entering into the state of ihram. And we said that the second wajib is al-halq or al-taqsir, and here it is mentioned that it is shaving or shortening the hair. And there will come insha'Allah some more details with regards to the rulings of shaving and shortening the hair. And tonight we continue, which is the 4th component of these lectures, that which is sifatul umrah, or a description of the Umrah itself. The first matter is al-ihram. Wal-ihram, or that which is when a person, or before a person enters into the state of ihram, that there are certain mustahabbat, or certain things which are recommended for him to do. And the first of them is al-ikhtisal, and this is to perform a ghusl, like he performs a ghusl for al-janaba. And this is because of what Asma bint Umays radiallahu anha reported about herself when she completed her hayd, that the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam told her to perform a ghusl. And this was when she wanted to perform the Umrah. That he said to her, اغتسلي واستغفري بثوب واحرمي. That he said to her that perform a ghusl and adorn yourself with a thawb, yani put on clothing, wahrimi, and go and enter into the state of ihram. So this ghusl or ightisal, we see that it is something which is mustahab. And it is something which the ulama have agreed upon, that it is not wajib, but rather it is recommended for a person to have this ghusl. And this is also what has been reported from Ibn al-Munzir, rahimahullah. Also, Ibn Abi Shaybah reports that Ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma, that he said, رُبَّمَا اِغْتَسَلَ وَرُبَّمَا تَوَضَّأَ. That perhaps Ibn Umar, that perhaps he made a ghusl, or perhaps he performed a wudu. أي إذا لم يتيسر له الاغتسال أي سبب فإنه ينتقل إلى الوضوء. So if he is not able to find any water that is able to perform, or that which suffices him to perform the ghusl, whatever reason, then he performs a wudu. And if he doesn't find water with which he can perform that wudu, then he performs a tayammum instead of performing the wudu. The second mustahab, al-mustahab al-thani, or that which is recommended with regards to the ihram, at-tanadduf wa izalat al-sha'r, كشعر الآباط والعانة وغير ذلك. And this is that a person cleans himself, and that he removes his hair, like the hair in his armpits, as well in his pubic area, and other than it, as well as taqlim al-adhafir, or that he clips or he shortens his nails of his hands and his feet. And the proof for this is what is reported of the order to wash oneself or to perform the ghusl, as is mentioned in the first one, فَإِنَّهُ لِأَجْلِ التَّنْظِيفِ, because this ghusl is so that you may clean yourself. وَكُلَّمَا فَإِذَا كَانَ كُلَّمَا يَكُونُ بِهِ التَّنْظِيفِ فَإِنَّهُ يُفْعَلُ. So whatever is considered from cleaning oneself, and this affair of removing the pubic hairs and the hairs in the armpits, then this is all considered from tanḍīf, and it is done. المستحب الثالث التطيب فيستحب للمحرم قبل أن يلبي بإحرامه أن يتطيب. The third recommended thing, that it is recommended for the muhrim, or the one who is entering into the state of ihram, before he makes the talbiyah, that he puts perfume on himself. وَيُسْتَحَبْ أَنْ يَكُونُ, and it is recommended that it is on the body, and some of the ulama say even on his ihram itself, or the clothing that he wears, or that he is wearing, على الصحيح لما ثبت في الصحيحين. And this is because of what is reported in the Sahihain from Aisha radiallahu anha, that she said, كنت أطيب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لإحرامه قبل أن يحرم. That I would apply perfume to the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam for his ihram, قبل أن يحرم, before he entered into the state of ihram. وَلِحَلِّهِ قَبْلَ أَنْ يَطُوفَ بِالْبَيْتِ. And this also, that she would do it before he would perform tawaf around the Kaaba. وَلِحَلِّهِ, and this is reported by Imam al-Bukhari and Muslim, this hadith, that she would apply this perfume or scent to Rasulullah before he went into al-ihram. So we say that if you've had a shower, you've shaved, you've removed all the hair, done your nails, that you can put perfume on yourself, and there is ikhtilaf. You put it on before you put your ihram, your two pieces of material on, or you can do it even on your ihram itself. But that which I hold to be more correct is that you put it on before you wear your ihram. The mustahab al-rabi', or the fourth thing that is recommended for the person who is entering into the state of ihram is that the ihram, that it is by wearing an izar and a rida. That means that he wears an upper garment and a lower garment, abyadain nadhifain, and that both of them are clean and they are white. أما الإحرام لإزار ورداء فلفعله صلى الله عليه وسلم فقد أحرم في إزار ورداء أو رداء. That he sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that then when he went into ihram, that he wore an upper garment and a lower garment. And this is reported from Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu. As for the izar and the rida being nadhifain, and we see that it is mustahab for the muhrim, or the one entering into ihram, that he cleans himself and he washes himself. And tab'an, if he's doing that to his body, then the clothing that he wears must also be clean. وَأَمَّا إِسْتِحْبَابُ كَوْنِ الْإِزَارُ وَرِدَاءَ أَبْيَضَيْنِ لِذَا ثَبَتَ عَنِ الْخَمْسَ إِلَّا نِسَائِ. That this affair, that the upper garment and the lower garment, that they are white, that this is reported from the 5 muhaddithun except an-Nisa'i, from Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma, that the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, إِلْبَسُوا مِنْ ثِيَابِكُمْ الْبَيَاضَ فَإِنَّهَا مِنْ خَيْرِ ثِيَابِكُمْ. That wear for your thobes or your clothing that which is white, because that is better for the clothing that you wear. And we see that the ulama, that they have reported this, they have reported this abundantly, and there is very little to oppose this, that the izar and the rida, that it must be white and that it must be clean. Al-mustahab al-khamis, or the 5th recommended thing, salatu raka'atay al-ihram. That he performs 2 raka'ah of salah when he has entered into the state of ihram, and that he said his niyyah, labayk Allahumma umrah, and then he prays 2 raka'ah. And thus, if it so if he enters into the state of ihram and there is a fard salah that is about to be prayed, then he prays the fard salah, and that will count or take the place of the 2 raka'ah of the ihram. If there is no fard salah after he has assumed or gone into the state of al-ihram, then he performs those 2 raka'ah specifically for al-ihram. And we see that there are proofs from the Sunnah and the Atharas of the Sahaba, and there is ijma' upon this matter. Imam al-Bukhari reports from Umar radiallahu anhu that the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, آتاني الليلة آت من ربي فقال صلي في هذا الوادي المبارك وقل عمرة في حجة. فهو صلى الله عليه وسلم قد صلى في الوادي عدة فروض. That the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said that there came to me revelation from my Lord, and he said to me, صلي في هذا الوادي المبارك, that pray in this blessed valley, and say an umrah within a hajj. So he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam had prayed many fard salah in that blessed valley, that which is known as Dhul Hulayfa, which was just outside of Medina. So heading towards Makkah, for the people of Medina, that they perform the hajj and they assume the ihram from Dhul Hulayfa. So this area was close to Dhul Hulayfa, or this valley was there at Dhul Hulayfa, and this praying, or this ordering of praying these 2 raka'ah, Salli fi hadha al-wali al-mubarak, was not because it was a blessed valley, but rather it is for the purpose of performing the Umrah. So we see that this ihram, it is recommended that there is a salah after it, after assuming the ihram. And this is not because it is a blessed valley. Naam. فَإِنَّهُ قَدْ سَلَ. So because if he's going, for example, from somewhere else, that is assuming his ihram like Ya Lamlam or elsewhere, then he prays 2 raka'ah after he has entered into the state of ihram. Okay? So we see that what is said here, that pray in this blessed valley, not because it is a blessed valley, but because you are going to perform an Umrah. And then the Shaykh mentions something about some of the people saying that performing 2 raka'ah of tawaf, or after it, of some of the contemporary scholars, they say that this person has erred and he has opposed the ulama of the 4 madhahib. And you know that after you perform a tawaf, that it is a sunnah to perform 2 raka'ah where? Yes, behind Maqam Ibrahim. So this is opposing the ijma' as well. And we see that this is what Abdullah ibn Umar had done. And this affair or this matter, it is not correct that you oppose that which is upon the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And it is not permissible to say, in matters where there is khilaf, to say that it is a bid'ah. Al-Mustahab As-Sadis At-Talaffuz bin-Nusuk. The 6th recommended thing about the ihram is that the person utters the intention of the nusuk, or to perform the umrah. So when he enters into it, he says, Labbaik Allahumma umratan. That, oh Allah, and this is one of the few times that you utter the niyyah or the intention for something. Khilafu as-salah. Not like the salah. Like many people nowadays, they will learn a whole recitation of Nawaitu Usalli Arba Raka'at Salatul Dhuhr Fi Waqtiha Wara al-Imam. This was not reported from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam that he said this whole thing. Umar ibn al-Khattab reports that the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, what did he say about the niyyah?
You must say the dua before you enter to the salah. Like Subhanaka Allahumma.
No, for salah there is no niyyah. You don't utter a particular niyyah with a certain wording. The niyyah for the salah is in the heart. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ وَإِنَّمَا لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مَا نَوَى. That verily the actions are judged by the intention, and that for every person is what he has intended.
What about the dua before the salah that you perform?
Which dua?
Before you start your salah, and then there's a dua that you say.
No, there's no dua, there's no niyyah before the salah. You come to the salah, you say in your heart that I'm performing the salah for the sake of Allah, Salatul Dhuhr, bas. Then you say Allahu Akbar.
That dua I'm saying about.
Which dua?
Yeah.
No, that is not the niyyah, that is in the salah. You can't make your niyyah while you have already started the thing. That is Dua ul-Istiftah, as they call it, or the opening dua that you make before you recite Surah Al-Fatiha. Amma an-niyya lis-salah fahuwa fi al-qalb. That you make your intention in your heart for the salah. Huna, for the umrah, you say Labbaik Allahumma umratan. That, oh Allah Ta'ala, I have responded to perform an umrah. That I am here to perform the umrah. Al-Mustahab Al-Sabi', and the 7th recommended thing is Istiqbal al-Qibla 'inda al-Ihram. That you face the Qibla when you are entering into the state of Ihram, as reported by Imam al-Bukhari from Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma. And we see Imam al-Bukhari has a special chapter in his Sahih with regards to this. And the people of knowledge, they mention this. So whoever wants to perform the Labbaik or say Labbaik Allahumma bi Umrah, that he does this wearing his ihram and he faces the Qibla and he say Labbaik Allahumma umratan. Okay, so he's in his ihram he now wants to make the talbiyah, or he wants to make the intention for the Umrah. He faces the Qibla and he says, Labbaik Allahumma Umratan. Okay? So this, after this, he's now in Ihram. It is not, because remember sometimes what some of the people do and what we did earlier this year, that we went from Medina to Mecca. But we didn't wear our Ihram or we put on our Ihram in Mecca. We went to Dhul Hulayfa and then we assumed our Ihram. We put on our clothing, face the Qibla, and then you say the Niyyah, then you're in the Ihram. So it's not from your hotel when you put on your clothing, that is not the Ihram. That is the clothing you're wearing for Al-Ihram. I know our people often they say, I put on my Ihram. They will say, I'll put on my upper garment and my lower garment. Or I put on my 2 white sheets. But this is not the Ihram itself. The Ihram is to say, Labbaik Allahumma bi Umrah. Then there are certain things which become haram for you to do. Al-Mustahab al-Thamin, al-Ishtirat. The 8th recommended thing is to set a condition. And that is that the person performing the Umrah, after he has said Labbaik Allahumma Umratan, that he says, Allahumma inna habasani habisan famahalli haythu habastani. That, oh Allah, that if there is something that prevents me from completing this Umrah, then my place is from where I have been prevented from. Meaning, and this is reported from Aisha radiallahu anha, that the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that he entered upon Diba'a bint az-Zubayr. And she said that, O Rasulullah, inni uridu al-hajj wa inni shakiyah. That I want to perform a hajj, she said, O Rasulullah, but I am doubtful. فَقَالَ حُجِّي وَاشْتَرِتِي وَقُولِي اللَّهُمَّ مَحَلِّي حَيْثُ حَبَسْتَنِي. That he said to her, that perform the hajj, وَاشْتَرِتِي, and set the condition. And that was, he said to her, and say, Allahumma mahalli haythu habastani. That, oh Allah, my place is from where I have been prevented from. So whatever's happened, whether you got sick, or you had something that happened, there was an accident or something, then wherever you stop, that is where you're going to continue from. Okay. وَقَدْ ذَهَبَ جَمَاهِيرَ الصَّحَابَةِ كَعُمَرْ وَعُثْمَانِ وعلي وغيرهم رضي الله عنه أنه يستحب الاشتراط, that it is mustahab according to the Sahaba like Umar and Uthman and Ali and other than them, that it is recommended to make the ishtirat. And they did not distinguish between the one who is muhtajan lahu li'udhrin aw lighayri, whether that person might have an udhr or an excuse, or he doesn't have an excuse. Bal atlaqu, they made it a general thing. So even if you say, for example, I'm going, but I have a medical problem, and I'm going to start, but I might get too sick, and while I'm too sick, I won't be able to complete it, for example. So here he has an excuse. Then there might be someone who doesn't have an excuse. He doesn't have, not a valid excuse, he doesn't have an excuse. So here we see that the benefit of al-ishtirat, or setting that condition of being prevented from completing your umrah or your hajj, أنه لو لم يستطع إكمال عمرته بأن صده عدوا أو مرض, that if there is something that prevents him from completing the umrah, whether it is a disease or a plague or whatever, فإنه يتحلل مباشرة, that he comes out of that umrah immediately. أما لو لم يشترط وأحسر, and if he does not set the condition, then أحسر, then it is not counted valid, that umrah, and he cannot continue. فإنه يذبح شاة ويعتمر بعد ذلك. Then for that person who didn't set the condition, he has to slaughter a sheep and he performs an umrah after that. معنى لكن إذا اشترط ومنعه مانع من إكمال عمرته فإنه يتحلل ويكفي تحلله, so that he suffices with that which he has performed of the umrah when he's made the اشتراط. تنبيه ليس الحيض مسوغا للتحلل لمن اشترط من النساء. So here it is important to remember and to mention that it is not for the person who has made ishtirat or set the condition, that for women haid is not a reason for ishtirat. فقد تتأخر حيضة امرأة أو يستعجل رفقتها في الرجوع ثم تتحلى بحجة أنها اشترطت. Okay? وهذا لا يصح. So it is not permissible for her to set that condition and say that if I get my haid, I might get my haid, I'm going to set the condition. والذي عليه العلماء الأوائل أن الحيض ليس مسوغا للتحلل لأن الحيض أصل وليس مرض. And the difference here is that the haid is an asl of the woman. It is not an illness. It is from the tabi'ah, it's from the nature of the woman that she gets a haid. So it is not for her to say that if I get my haid, min haythu habastani, from where I have been prevented or you prevented me, that she cannot do this for her haid. It is for illness, or if there's some pandemic like we had a couple of years ago. But haid is not a reason for her to set the condition. Because this haid is something which Allah Ta'ala has written for the women. So a woman, she stays al-mar'atu hatta tutahhir ila ghayri dhalik min al-ahkam al-shar'iyyah allati laysa hadha mawdu'u tafsilha. And we won't go into the details of this because there are many other rulings that are based upon the haid being from the nature or the asl or the origin of the woman. So if a woman passes by a miqat, for example, here's another benefit, and she is in a state of haid, then her ruling is like the ruling of the one who is in a state of tahira. وَلَا فَرْقَ بَيْنَهُمَا, there's no difference between them. فَتُحْرَمْ وَتُلَبِّي مِنَ الْمِيقَاتِ. So she wears her clothing, she makes the ihram, or she enters into the state of ihram, and she makes the talbiyah from the miqat. ثُمَّ تَنْظُرْ حَتَّى تُطَهِّرْ ثُمَّ تَغْتَسِلْ وَتَطُوفْ وَتَسْعَى إِلَى آخِرِ. Then she sees when she becomes clean and she performs a ghusl, and then she can perform a tawaf or a sa'i, and do not enter into ihram. وَإِنَّمَا تَدْخُلُ بِلَا إِحْرَامٍ. But rather they go in without entering into the state of their ihram. ثُمَّ إِذَا طَهُرَتْ ذَهَبَتْ إِلَى التَّنْعِيمِ فَأَحْرَمَتْ. So what some of them do is that when they become clean, they go to Tan'im, where Masjid Aisha is, and then they go back into ihram. It is not necessary for her to do this, and this is a mistake from two angles. Al-awwal, يجب عليها أن تحرم من الميقات. That it is wajib for her to make the ihram from the miqat. She can't go past, then see now that she's clean and then perform a ghusl and then go back. Because you must perform the ihram from the miqat. ثانيا إذا قدر أنها دخلت ولم تحرم إذا قدر أنها دخلت ولم تحرم ثم طهرت فإنه يجب عليها أن ترجع إلى ميقاتها لا أن تذهب إلى الحل. And remember, al-hil, that if she enters and she did not go into ihram, and then she becomes clean, فإنه يجب عليها أن ترجع إلى ميقاتها. She doesn't go to Masjid Aisha to Tana'im. She has to go to her miqat. So wherever she's come from, whether it is Riyadh or she's come from Egypt or Sham, then that is the miqat she must go to. Not to Masjid Tana'im. Wajibun min wajibat al-umrah. Because it is one of those things which are from the wajibat of umrah, as we have mentioned before. Al-mustahab al-tasi', the ninth recommended thing to do is at-talbiyah wal-iktharu minha. That it is to make the talbiyah and to say it abundantly, and to say it as it comes in the hadith from Imam Muslim, from Jabir radiallahu anhu, that he said, حَتَّى إِذَا اسْتَوَتْ بِهِ نَاقَتُهُ عَلَى الْبَيْدَاءِ, up until his camel came to a clear and open field. فَأَهَلَّ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمْ بِالتَّوْحِيدِ. And then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that he recited the praises of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he singled Allah ta'ala out with tawheed, and he said, labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik, innal hamda wal ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika laka. Wa huna fa'idah, and this is a very important thing, that here Jabir mentions فَأَهَلَّ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمْ بِالتَّوْحِيدِ. That Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that he singled out Allah Ta'ala with tawheed, and he's using the word tawheed here. Many people, they say, you people always talk about tawheed all the time. Huna Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam yu'allimuna at-tawheed. He's teaching us at-tawheed. He says, labbaik Allahumma labbaik. That, oh Allah Ta'ala, I have responded. Labbaik Allahumma labbaik. Labbaik la sharika laka labbaik. That I have responded, that you have no partners. I have indeed responded. Innal hamda wa ni'mata lak. That verily all praises and all favors, they are from you and due to you. Wal mulku la sharika lak. And that also, that mulk, everything belongs to you, and you have no partners in that mulk, in that which you own, in your sovereignty, in your kingship, in your lordship. And this is something which is recommended for the person intending to perform the Umrah, that he says it abundantly from the time that he assumes the Ihram, and he says, Labbaik Allahumma Umratan, that he says this up until he starts to perform the Tawaf. He says this until he starts to perform the Tawaf. We see that Sahl ibn Sa'd reported that the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, ما من مسلم يلبي إلا لبى من عن يمينه أو عن شماله من حجر أو شجر أو مدر حتى تنقطع الأرض من هاهنا وهاهنا. That a person, or there is not a Muslim that says, لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك. There is not a person who says this except that whoever is on his right and on his left, from stones and trees, that they all say this up until the earth تنقطع من هاهنا وهاهنا. It splits from here until there. وثبت عن الصحابة أنهم كانوا يلبون ويرفعون أصواتهم بها. أخرج البخاري عن أنس رضي الله عنه that Anas said صلى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بالمدينة الظهر 4 والعصر بذي الحليفة 2 وسمعتهم يصرخون بهما جميعا. That Anas, he said that the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam prayed Dhuhr that he prayed 4 rak'ah of Dhuhr in Medina. He then went and prayed Asr in Dhul Hulayfa. He prayed 2 rak'ah, meaning that he shortened it. Then he says, وَسَمِعْتُهُمْ يَصْرَخُونَ بِهِمَا جَمِيعًا. And I heard, those that were with him, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that they shouted and they raised it and they said it at the top of their voices, saying, لَبَّيْكَ اللَّهُمَّ لَبَّيْكَ. It is reported from some of the Sahaba that they would say this so much that voices would start to go away. That would start to get hoarse voices from how long they would say it. And we see in our times that the distance between the miqat and the haram has become shorter. How? Because the roads are shorter. We don't have to travel by camels. We travel by cars or even by trains nowadays, which is much faster. لا سيما من جاء من ميقات السيل أو يلملم ثم يليها الجحفة ثم ذو الحليفة فأبعدها ذو الحليفة بما يقرب من 4 ساعات أو أقل. فينبغي لنا أن نستغل هذا الوقت في التلبية وأن نصرخ بها ونرفع أصواتنا كما كان يفعل الصحابة. So we see that it is now the time that we travel from the miqat to the haram. It has become very short, and we see that it is even shorter when you're traveling from Jeddah to Makkah, and shorter when you travel from Juhfa, as well as from Yalamlam and As-Sail, as we have mentioned with regards to the miqat or the boundaries. And here we must use this opportunity to raise our voices and say the talbiyah as frequently and as loudly as we can. And we see many of the people, they are either shy to do this, or we find that sometimes a person will go on the car or the train or whatever, and he will sleep, or he will be busy with his phone, or he will be talking to his companions, and other than it. But this is very precious time that he must use in saying the talbiyah. فائدة حكم من اعتمر بالطائرة أنه إذا أخبره قائد الطائرة بقربه من الميقات فيلبس إحرامه ثم يلبي بعمرته، لكن الاحتياط أنه يلبس إحرامه منذ أن يصعد الطائرة أو قبل ذلك، والأفضل له أن يلبس إحرامه في البيت وأن يغتسل وأن يتطيب ويستعد ثم يصعد الطائرة وعليه إحرامه، فإذا أقلعت الطائرة أحرم منذ إقلاعها، وإن كان الأفضل أن لا يحرم إلا عند الميقات، لكن كثيرا ما يكون مريد العمرة في الطائرة نائما أو غافلا أو ينسى قائد الطائرة أن ينبهه. So here the Sheikh is just mentioning that whoever performs a Umrah and is going by plane, that and we see what is common nowadays is that the pilot will inform those performing the Umrah of when they're coming close to the miqat. So he then wears his ihram and he makes this talbiyah for the Umrah. But obviously in the plane, they're not going to stop at the miqat for you in mid-air and say, okay, it's time. It's better for you to wear it and you are ready when they announce that you are coming close to the miqat. Also, we see that many of those who are performing the Umrah and they go by plane takes off, and we see that the ihram before the miqat is makruh, lakin al-kiraha tartafi'u inda al-haja. But something that is this light, it is removed when there is a need to do that particular thing. So I think just to keep things in perspective and but we can speak about this inshallah or not. So we've spoken tonight mostly about the mustahabbat of al-ihram. We said that in our next lesson inshallah we will speak a bit about entering into Makkah and what to do.